Let me tell you about a game that doesn't care if you're ready, because once you're in, you either keep moving or die trying. Mortal Sin is what happens when you take visceral, skill-based melee combat, shove it into a nightmare that never stops shifting, and then paint it all in bold comic book violence. It's stylish, brutal, and surprisingly deep. And yeah, every run is chaos in the best way possible. Combat in Mortal Sin is fast, like blink and you might miss your head fast, you're chaining together slashes, kicks, bashes, and if you're really feeling yourself, those flashy finishers that send limbs flying and blood spraying across the walls like some kind of violent Jackson Pollock. It's all about momentum. You slow down, you die, you hesitate, you die. The best defense here, offense. Aggressive, stylish, combo-heavy offense. And it looks incredible while you're doing it. This isn't your typical grimdark dungeon crawler. The art style is straight-up graphic novel, high contrast, heavy lines, popping colors. It feels like you're fighting through a living comic book. But if that's not your vibe, the game's got multiple visual modes and color palettes to match whatever mood you're in. Want gritty black and white? Neon-drenched chaos? It's in there. Now let's talk replayability, because this is where Mortal Sin really shows its teeth. Every run drops you into a surreal, procedurally generated nightmare filled with handcrafted rooms, randomized quests, and enemies that actually react to you. No two runs feel the same. It's got that just one more try energy, except it's more like just one more hour before you realize it's 3 a.m. The roster of playable classes is wild, from the heavy-hitting Berserker with a sword the size of a small car to a literal gun-toting pirate. Yes, that's a real class. They all play completely differently, and the real fun comes when you start finding synergies between weapons and class abilities. Maybe your spear sets enemies on fire, or your claws steal health with every slash. There's a constant sense of experimentation. Weapons are varied too. Great swords, spears, claws, magic, guns. There's something for every flavor of carnage. And the enemies? They're not just cannon fodder. They'll dodge, flank, adapt. You need to think on your feet or they'll tear you apart. And if you manage to survive long enough, there are secret zones packed with rare loot and horrors you probably weren't meant to find. Infinite runs, constant updates. A game that wants you dead, but makes dying feel so damn good. Mortal Sin doesn't hold your hand. It throws you in the deep end with a blade and dares you to survive. It's violent, stylish, and endlessly replayable. If you're into high-speed, high-skill combat wrapped in a surreal comic book fever dream, you're gonna love this. So yeah, if you like games that test your reflexes, reward aggression, and look unreasonably cool while doing it, give Mortal Sin a shot. Just don't blink. You might miss your head.